Hello Gears and Gaming fans, KDB here for Gears Intel, a Gears of War fan channel and podcast covering all things Gears of War and Gears adjacent. I am here once again to check in with you about a few Gears of War things. There's been a couple of things bubbling over the last couple of weeks. The last video, obviously, we covered the Gears of War Reloaded news, fan reaction, our reaction in our mini podcast episode. It's just me today, not hearing from David and Alex. This is just a quick check-in. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but there are a few things I just wanted to say that I can't really express on Twitter because, you know, not enough characters and all that. So instead I thought I'd force you, well, I'm not forcing you, nobody's forcing you, to listen to my voice, just express a few things. So, where are we? Most importantly, this is, I suppose, a bit of an addendum and a follow-on to my video from a few weeks ago, where I asked the question, is the Gears of War movie in development hell? Is the movie dead? Well, apparently not. There's light at the end of the tunnel. We had a glimmer of hope a couple of weeks after I put that video out. Well, no, the news came after the Gears of War Reloaded news. So Gears has been in the news a couple of times in a big way in the last few weeks. So if you're watching this, you've probably already seen. I'm not here to report the news. I just wanted to give a reaction to it and some thoughts, because I thought it was quite funny that I made that video, is the movie in development hell, talked about how we'd heard nothing since like March 2023. And then lo and behold, within 2 weeks, we had two big Gears of War news headlines, including some news on the movie, which has got everyone excited, or some people excited. Again, not a massive deep dive and recap, but just for those that didn't see, as reported by The Hollywood Reporter, Gears of War movie landing David Leitch as director. Leitch and Kelly McCormick will produce the Netflix video game adaptation via their 87 North banner along with gaming company The Coalition. The gears are turning for David Leitch, the Fall Guy director, is in negotiations to helm Gears of War, Netflix's big budget adaptation of one of the biggest video game franchises on the platform. So please do go and read the full article if you want a bit more information, but that is the gist of it, because there's been no comment from Netflix or the Coalition. This is a Hollywood Reporter report. Now, it's very important to note, because obviously there's been many articles written about this. They've got the director, the Gears of War director. Nothing is confirmed yet. They're just in negotiations with David Leitch to join Leitch-Spaihts as the writer. So David Leitch is the director, Leitch-Spaihts is the writer. And it got me thinking. I did post my reaction to it, how when I saw that David Leitch was announced as the director, I mean, instantly I thought, okay, there's the action. There's the action man, if you like. And I don't want to say I felt not cynical. I wasn't negative about it either. I felt like this hints that this is going to be the bombastic Gears of War movie, if this is the guy that's going to be directing it. For those that don't know, he directed The Fall Guy, Deadpool 2. He co-directed John Wick 1, but he wasn't credited. I think he just focused on the stunt work. He's done a few other things. And he's, you know, this is a fairly big name. It's a fairly sought after name. So this tells me a few things, like the action they want taken care of and want done properly by somebody that knows what they're doing and are willing to spend some money to get a Hollywood name. This isn't a new director looking for their first feature, which is often the case with these video game adaptations. This is someone who can put an action sequence or two together, which you do want. Is this the right man to direct the whole thing? If you're going to focus on the action, yes, probably. Now, I do wonder if we, as Gears fans, and when I say we, I don't speak for everyone. I mean, I wonder if I have maybe romanticized Gears of War's seriousness, its horror nature over the years. I don't like to think I have, but the fact is, Gears of War is action-driven. It's bombastic. When we did our big Gears of War movie theory thing, when we first launched this show, we did talk a lot about how it needs to be big budget. It's going to have big bombastic sequences. And in lots of ways, I'd take that as a Gears of War movie. But I think because many of us who are really big Gears fans are kind of more tuned into the nuance of the franchise, the story that is there, the profound and emotional story that is there. When you see an action director thrown at it, it makes me think, okay, I see what they're focusing on. However, there is a however. John Spaihts is the writer. And I followed up my post saying, okay, I think they're leaning into the popcorn movie some of us thought that it was going to be. But when you consider that Leitch is the director, potentially, and Spaihts is the writer, these are two very specific talents with a very specific CV. And side by side, this is two people who could, in theory, combine the sci-fi, serious, lore-heavy character stuff written by Spaihts with the big, bombastic Gears of War action sequences. And maybe, just maybe, it's a match made in heaven. Creative differences may occur, who knows? The director is going to have the say at the end of the day, and I think it feels like they're going to go all out with the action, so they need somebody experienced to put these sequences together. And I would be happy with Leitch as a director. The more I think about it, the more I get away from the news. I'm like, okay, if you tear it apart, they do seem to care. They're spending some money on talent. You know, Spaihts working on the Dune movies as well. Like, he's very much in demand. He's very busy. I mean, certainly critically acclaimed for the most part, right? I don't actually remember what the scores are or anything on Metacritic, but, you know, I only hear good things about it. Whether it made loads of money at the box office, I'm not sure. I'm talking about Dune. I personally am a huge Prometheus apologist. And I know that there's lots of people that don't like Prometheus. John Spaihts wrote the first draft of Prometheus, and then Damon Lindelof came in and tweaked the script to be more what it is. But there's definitely John Spaihts' fingerprints are all over Prometheus, and he is credited as well. So, and I think Damon Lindelof has said the script wouldn't be what it is without his input. So he knows his sci-fi, he knows his aliens, he can work with the dark stuff. There is a dog barking outside. Sorry if that's coming through on the audio. And yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm quietly intrigued, warmly positive about this pairing. And should David Leitch be confirmed as the director, I'll take it. I was very concerned that the movie was not progressing, and it was in development hell, as I said in the previous video, or a couple of videos ago. This to me is a good sign. They obviously watched my video and they said, look, KDB's really upset. He's worried. He thinks it's in development hell. Get this report out there now about David Leitch. We need to comfort those Gears fans. We need to put their minds at ease. So don't worry. Don't worry, everyone. It's not in development hell. Now, there's still a long way to go. We've got this director-writer pairing, potentially. But what's next? We still have had nothing about casting, and that's going to come when the director's on board. Once we start to see casting announcements, then I think I will start to really believe that this movie is happening. Landing a writer and director, formalising the script and finalising the script and everything is one thing. Once you start casting, that's it's not a dead cert that everything's going ahead, but it's a pretty good sign that things are full steam ahead. Again, when we did the Gears of War movie chat back in the day, we talked a lot about casting, and Big Dave's been back in the news again. I'm pretty sure he posted on social media again, just sharing the image of himself in the Marcus Phoenix attire. I'm on the record about Batista. I'm not crazy about the idea that he plays Marcus Phoenix. I'm not even crazy about the idea that this movie focuses on Marcus Phoenix, and I do wonder if I would prefer a story within the world. Marcus Phoenix could potentially show up, make a cameo. I'm not sure it needs to be the focus. We have said, and I have said, I don't really want a retelling of the game. That's, less interesting to me than something like what Fallout did, which was tell a new story in the world. And that doesn't mean you can't have some of our beloved characters in it. I'm just not sure it should be the focus. And I think maybe I'd like to see an opportunity to do more. But because this isn't a series, and because there's potentially no plans that it continues, it's just a one and done movie, it probably is more likely that it's some kind of retelling, or at least a chapter of the initial trilogy. I don't know. It's just me musing out loud. But yeah, so I'm not crazy about Batista. I think I'd maybe prefer an unknown. Batista's going to be expensive. He's going to take me out of the movie as well. Yeah, I'd maybe rather have an unknown. But we talked a bit more about casting, and something I said way back then, which I've continued to say, and I haven't really seen anyone else championing this. Championing? If I can speak, I'll tell you. I would like to see Rhea Ripley cast in the Gears of War movie. I think she's good to go. I think, if you're looking for star power for a start, and to bring fans in that maybe aren't Gears of War fans, get Rhea Ripley in this movie. She is internet popular in a big way. She is built like a Gears of War character. She's got the Sam accent for a start. I'm not saying she has to play Sam, but you know, that could be fun. Sam is one of my favourite characters in Gears of War. Absolutely love her. But even just as a homage, you know that Gears of War, we've always said this, it's a hugely diverse group of characters from different parts of the world within the universe, you know, not Earth, from Serra. Different accents, different ethnicities, and having an Australian in there, having an Aussie, I think would be awesome. And because it pays big homage to Sam. And I think Rhea Ripley's good to go. As a packaged Gears of War movie cast member, get her in there. Do go back and listen to that old episode. We talked more, and I would say everything we talked about is probably still relevant because we dived into budget, casting, story, you know, how it looks as well, the CG, all just theories and kind of a wish list of what we'd like and what we think they might do and what we think needs to happen for it to work. So do go and check that out. And we will definitely talk more about it in future as the news breaks. So there we have it. The movie is not in development hell. Potentially Leitch as a director, joining John Spaihts. Spaihts? Again, I'm just struggling to speak today. I'm surprised if you're still here. If you are, well done. Give yourself a pat on the back. Anyway, moving on before I wrap this up. Gears of War Reloaded news. Yes, how are we all feeling now? I'm still feeling fine about it. Go and check out the previous video for more thoughts. There was a story doing the rounds that potentially there is a beta package on Steam. I do not understand any of this. It goes over my head. I'm new to Steam gaming, new to PC gaming, but people much smarter than me have pointed out that it says beta on the Steam package or something. Now, whether that means anything that we can hang on to, I have no idea. But does it mean a multiplayer beta is coming soon for Gears of War Reloaded? I think that makes sense to do that. I think that's right. I think we want it to run smoothly. They want to test it out with the PlayStation players and the crossplay. Yeah, get a beta out there. Give us some beta skins as well that we get to carry over to the main game when it launches, or the new package, which we will talk about when it launches. We've said, David, Alex and I, that it's not really for us, it's for the new players, but we'll all check it out, I'm sure, once it launches. So be prepared. The Xbox Showcase is coming up. We might have a beta for Reloaded on our hands very soon. And lastly, yes, as I just mentioned, the Xbox Showcase is coming up on Sunday, the 8th of June. This is a couple of days after the main summer Game Fest stuff, you know, the Jeff Keighley summer stuff, the not E3, if you like. Xbox Showcase is a couple of weeks away. Very excited. I did a poll on our Gears Intel Twitter account, which, as I always say, the votes on there, it's a very concentrated group of Gears of War fans. So I think all of you that get involved with the voting, it gives us a nice little peek at the sentiment of the fandom and what people are thinking. So I just asked a simple question, and the poll is actually still running as I record this. There's still a day to go. It's almost been a year. Do you think Gears of War E-Day will get a new trailer at the Xbox Showcase? 390 of you have voted so far. Thank you for doing that. And we are at 87.2% yes and 12.8% no. A few responses on here. Thank you to everyone for getting involved. Paul Levo says, yes, I expect to see E-Day get more attention. I also expect to see either hints or proof of Gears 2 and 3 remasters. So yeah, this is the big question. We asked it at the end of the Reloaded video, the Reloaded mini podcast, I should say. If they've announced Reloaded already, have they got something up their sleeve that they're saving for the showcase? And is that going to be a trailer for E-Day? And is it going to be more remaster announcements? Personally, I don't think we're going to see anything to do with Gears 2 and 3 remasters at the showcase. I think they're going to let Reloaded simmer. That's their focus at the moment, getting that out, getting this apparent beta out, making sure everybody's got it, making sure everybody loves it. And as long as the reaction to it is positive, then they may look at announcing what's next for the original games and potential remasters there. So I should say, I would love to be wrong. I would be dancing in my seat, popping the champagne. If there was 2 and 3 remasters, cool, bring it on. The sensible person in me says probably not. I think they're focusing on Reloaded right now and focusing on E-Day. Now, do I think it's going to get a trailer? Give you my thoughts there at the end. Let's see what some more of you are thinking. Pinguinus erectus. I don't think it will be a real gameplay showcase, but most likely some of those in-engine real-time showings. Yep, very potentially. Are we at gameplay stage yet? I'm not so sure. It's very hard to say. We know that development schedules are a very long time. Do they have anything they want to show? And do they want to show anything that people are going to react negatively to? Gameplay showings can, set the internet on fire in a number of ways these days. So if they've got some gameplay to show, I hope it's good to go. BCast Gaming says, I wouldn't see a reason why not. Will probably be the release date trailer. Fingers crossed we get some more story teasers too. Yep, I am so very intrigued about the story. We know, of course, it's going to be focused around E-Day and that period of time, but what's the arc going to be? What introductions are we going to get? Are we going to get new characters that come and go? Yeah, I'm so interested to see how they handle a prequel, because this is another thing we've talked about. Prequels can sometimes be really boring because there's no stakes. If it's got characters in that you know survive, Marcus and Dom, well, we know they're not going to die, so what are the stakes? They need to bring stakes into the story, and generally that will be probably with new characters, and that's a big ask to get us to like new characters at this point when we know that they're focusing on Marcus and Dom. Or are they just going to lean into kind of a road trip Marcus and Dom E-Day game, really dealing with the horrors of the Locust, and maybe there's no new characters and it's very focused and sort of insular on these two. I'm just intrigued. I'm really intrigued to see what they do, because prequels are not easy to do story-wise. Craig Green says, I think we will, but also an announcement of this being on PS5 with a small showcase announcement of multiplayer. Yeah, Gears of War E-Day on PS5. I would say it's happening. It's just a matter of when. I think it would be really bad, or maybe not bad. It would just annoy me if they announced that it's coming to PS5 at the Xbox Showcase. I hope they do what they've done with Gears of War Reloaded. They just make it an Xbox Wire article. Don't do what they did with Indiana Jones, where they made a big fuss that it was coming to PS5, because that just pissed everyone off. We all know it's coming to PS5 at some point. Save that announcement for later, please. Red Yota says, trailer, probably. Release date, no. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a release date. Few more responses here, not going to read them all. Please do come and check out the Twitter account if you want to engage with the conversation. Gearshead84 says, yes, I do. It's going to make a massive splash at the showcase. Dylan says, no way it doesn't. A trailer, some gameplay, and maybe a loose release window too. Really hope we find out who the villain is for E-Day this year. Yes, that is a very good point that I had not considered. I've talked about story. What's the story going to be? I keep thinking about Marcus and Dom and the Locust and the other gears that we might get. I haven't actually considered who's the main villain going to be, and is it going to be a returning villain? Is it going to be someone from before? Who knows? Probably going to be someone new. We shall see. Flexin85, I hope we get a trailer with an extended look at gameplay and details on game modes. I am really hoping for a Horde mode focused on E-holes or grub holes. Yeah, I mean, Horde mode, we all want it. We're all desperate for it. We were disappointed that there wasn't a new Horde mode added to Reloaded, but I understand why that hasn't happened. If Gears of War E-Day launches and there's no Horde mode, I'm going to be very upset. And I tell you now, I'm definitely not going to be the only one out there very upset. So what do you think? If you didn't get involved with the poll or our conversation on Twitter, let us know in the comments. Are we going to get a fresh look at E-Day at the showcase? Personally, I would be stunned if there was not a look at E-Day. If there is nothing at the showcase for E-Day, now that we've had the introduction trailer and all this and we're on the road to E-Day, To pass Xbox's biggest show of the year and show nothing would be a huge misfire. And it would start to ring some alarm bells to me. I don't want to be negative, don't want to be too negative here, but I don't need to see gameplay yet. I really don't. If gameplay's not ready to see and they've got to work on it or whatever, fine. You're telling me we can't have another little story trailer, in-engine trailer? Give me that. I would love to see that. Coalition, if you're listening, I don't ask for much. I don't even need the game this year. Some people think it's going to be out late this year. Do you know what? I don't even really need it next year. I'm happy to wait another couple of years for E-Day. I understand these things take a long time to get right. And to be honest, whenever we get a release date these days, it often gets delayed anyway. So I'm not banking on the release date being announced or confirmed. I'm happy to wait. Don't need to see lots of gameplay. We know what Gears is, right? This is not a new game. It's not a dormant franchise. Gears is Gears. It's a third-person cover shooter, and I'm sure that will be the focus of the gameplay. It's going to be tweaked here and there. I don't really need to see that just yet. I would love to. I would absolutely love to. I know what Gears is. I'm kind of more intrigued about how they're going to handle the story. So if you could give me a little peek at that, another little tone piece, another little character piece that teases what's in store for Gears of War E-Day and how they're going to handle this prequel, I'll be happy for another year. You know, a year is a long wait, but if we have to wait till the showcase next year before we get our final look at gameplay, or first proper look at gameplay and release date to be that following year. When's the 20th anniversary? It's next year, isn't it? Part of me feels like aiming E-Day for the 20-year anniversary release would be awesome. I don't know if that's guaranteed. There's lots of things. My mind's all over the place, as you can hear. Anything is kind of possible, but the main thing, yeah, I will just underline, if we pass this showcase and there's not any look at E-Day, I'll be stunned. I'll be gobsmacked, and I'll come on here and I'll be talking to you lot very confused, asking a few questions of our beloved Gears of War, our beloved Coalition. And that's it. I'm going to leave it there for today. Thanks for checking in with me. Gears of War, as always, as I've said, whenever Gears of War gets announced, whenever a Gears of War news story comes out, I should say, it trends. Everybody's talking about it. It's buzzing. It's not just us here on the channel. It's not just the Gears of War community. All the gaming websites, everybody, websites that aren't even focused on gaming are talking about the Gears of War movie and Gears of War Reloaded. There's lots happening. E-Day, Reloaded, the movie. We're going to be covering it more and more going forward. We will be here post-showcase with a podcast episode, especially if there's something to talk about E-Day related. Cannot wait to see what's in store. Please do subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe to us on podcast feeds as well, leave a review, and come and engage with us on Twitter at Gears_Intel. We are also on Blue Sky and TikTok, trying to spread ourselves about the place like some rabid locust horde. And we're trying to get the YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do. We'll be back again soon. Till next time, remember the fallen.